So the police station was the focus of the protest. So the other fires in Minneapolis, I don't know, but that particular police station, the first night I was out there, there was a large presence of police who were, every time we started chanting, there were large guns pointed at us with a laser on it, firing rubber bullets, firing these giant canisters of tear gas, hit someone in the face, busted her open. Now coming up on the night that we took over the police station, they pulled the cops back. We came to the police station and it was a celebration, and they started lighting off fireworks inside the police station. And what it turned from fireworks to a full-on fire. And that was a symbol of police aggression. That police station is a symbol of police aggression. Now, for some people, police stations are protecting and serving. For a lot of Black people, police are over-aggressive, over-policing, and targeting Black men. And so that building was a symbol of white supremacy. And that fire was a civil disobedience, civil unrest. And that turned into a celebration. You know, police pulled out. No one was hurt. No one was injured. They were listening to Beyonce. In America, we got something called an electric slide they were dancing to. They were lighting off fireworks. It was a celebration of minor victories that we had. Very, very minor victories. And the next day, in fact, the cop was charged. You know, the cop got charged.
So let me bring in Joe Giacalone on this. Joe, your thoughts on how events have unfolded in the past 6 days.
Yeah, things have degraded greatly. I mean, we went from peaceful protests, and now we have all-out riots. You know, taking over police stations, lighting them on fires, are not celebrations. They're just, you know, the taxpayers are going to have to pay for these things down the road. The people in the community, unfortunately, are going to suffer from lack of police service and lack of, you know, police cars and the like. When these things, all these things have repercussions. I mean, listen, what happened to Mr. George, it was just, it was absolutely awful. I went out and spoke on this early on and said that this was an awful thing. I mean, I don't know why it took the Attorney General so long to even charge him. They had a lot of evidence there to prove that this was not, you know, a proper use of force in any you know, any stretch of the imagination. But this thing is now spiraled out of control. Small victories, as you want to call it, whatever you want to do. That sounds more like a war and not an actual protest. Because if you're going to go for small victory, there's no end in sight. And unfortunately, after the lockdown and COVID-19. And now you're dealing with this. There are going to be some cities that will never recover. Some businesses will never come back. And communities all over America are going to be affected greatly. We need to come up with a solution to try to figure out what transpired in this incident, why it happened. This officer seemed to have a number of complaints against him. I'd like to know if the chief knew about his early warning system. And if he did, what did he do about it? I mean, everybody say that he did a brave thing by firing these guys right away. But I look at it as they had evidence that this officer might have been a problem to begin with. And what are you doing about it? And that's a message for police chiefs all across the country. If you have an early warning system and you have identified officers that have, you know, this officer had 3 police involved shootings. I mean, it's very rare to have 1. So have 3 is kind of off the charts. I know that, you know, there are outliers here or there, but 3 is off the charts. And you have to ask yourself, like, what kind of selection, what kind of training, what kind of recruitment, and what kind of discipline are police departments doing? You would think that after the Michael Brown incident, we would have learned a little better. But apparently we haven't.